Salute. I'm your host, Chris Budihas. Joining me here in the studio is David Clifton with Griffin Waste Services of Jacksonville. David, how are you?
How are you, sir?
It's good to see you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, you got a lot going on. So before we get into that, tell us a little bit about you. Where are you originally from and what you do in the military?
Yeah, so originally from Columbia, South Carolina. Grew up there my entire life.
Yeah.
Played a little bit of basketball in high school, tried to penetrate college a little bit, realized that wasn't going to work.
That wasn't it.
5'11" little white guy wasn't going to make it, so Michael Jordan's dream came false for me.
Yeah.
But so then decided to join the military.
Yeah.
Wound up at, I went to Fort Seal, went to Fort Bliss, so we were air defenders, shut down fast-moving aircrafts, and then obviously was in the invasion in '03 with 3rd ID. We broke the berm. My brother-in-law, Ralph Elder, he was actually the 3rd tank from the front with 3-7, so introduced him to my sister. I liked him so much. But he, I think why I joined, I was kind of running. Yeah. Just trying to find something new.
Okay.
Just getting out of town and trying to find out who David is. And I didn't realize that it was going to.
Did you find it? Did it help?
I started to until I got deployed into the desert.
Okay.
And then I think the war set me back quite a bit.
Okay.
But it was definitely a good experience and taught me a lot.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you've done a lot in your life. I'd encourage everybody to take a look at you on LinkedIn and connect with you. But I mean, you've been in the pastoral side of things. You've been in the business space, but now you're with Griffin. So tell us about the company. What do you guys do and how do you do it?
Sure. So we're with Griffin Waste Services of Jacksonville. We're a roll-off dumpster company. While we got into it, I've done corporate sales, so I've been on the medical sales side, and my wife, she was on.
It's a very unforgiving business.
Dealing with surgeons can be very, very challenging, but very rewarding.
Okay.
So I think my wife Danny would agree. There's some longtime friends that you'll stay connected with, or acquaintances, but it's a good profession. Taught me a lot, humbled me a lot dealing with surgeons.
Yeah.
But as we got into Griff Waste Service, we kind of want to do something on our own, and the economy where it was and where it's going, I think eventually it'll turn with consumer confidence. And I think our place here is we bring the integrity back to business, and I think that the world lacks integrity. I really do, and I say that not hating on anyone, but it's do what you say and say what you do.
Right.
Don't just speak. Don't just say something. If you want to get in business, don't just do business because it's a can and you want to put it in your yard, or choose a can just to hit a budget. Everybody's got budgets, but do it because you're getting the service that you're paying for. And that's what we're trying to bring is, customer service like we did in working with surgeons. We're trying to bring that to the contracting and roofers and let them understand that they're just as important.
Yeah, I tell people it's funny, in the military we talk about being the people business. That's not just a military. That's in every, in my opinion, that's in every, no matter if you're in the nonprofit, business space, military, government. I mean, you should always be in the people business because you want to retain clients. And as I told a potential client yesterday, I don't want you to be on contract for a year. I want to have a relationship. we don't work together for a generation or more. And the way you treat people and the service you provide matters, because they'll quickly walk away if they feel they're not getting the value they expect.
Yeah.
So your value proposition, obviously you're bringing integrity to the game. You're probably bringing a first-class service to the game. Employee retention, how's that going?
So we have 2 older gentlemen that work for us, Mike and Walter, and they were with the company before we bought it.
Okay.
They were kind of on the fence about what to do, and they've stayed with us, and we've kind of created a little family.
That's
we
great.
just hired a 31, 32-year-old named Nick, great guy, and we take them to breakfast at least once a month and let them know what we're doing and why we're doing it, and keep them involved in the decisions.
Yeah.
And they call in if they got family stuff. One of them's got VBS with the kids tonight, so we work around. If I got to jump in a truck, I'll jump in a truck.
Right.
Because employees come first, and I think the military taught me that. And my wife Danny.
Don't ask people to do anything you wouldn't do yourself.
Exactly.
That's huge, right?
Yeah. And I'm not the boss. I'm just the salesman. I'm the workhorse. So I got to have my ground, and I think my Danny gives me a lot of ground. And I'm out there doing what I love with people, and she's good with people, but she likes me to do that, and she handles the back end stuff, and she likes to go to events, and I think at a couple events she's outsold me a couple of times, which is nice. But we're a great team, and it's I think a veteran-owned business. One thing I've learned in life is, and I know this might touch a few people the wrong way, but I think there's a big difference in a combat veteran and a veteran.
Yeah.
And I know some people might be like, well, I served. Well, I know you did.
Yeah.
But when you're in the trenches of combat, and that really teaches you humility. It teaches you when I go to bed tonight and I wake up the next day, that could be it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I live life. I think we all have a story, and I think we've been taught as kids growing up under men in the past of you can't share your story because people might think differently of you, and it's not how relationships are built.
No. There's a sense of trust and transparency, right? So, no, I do appreciate it. I don't think some people may be offended. That's okay. I mean, I think there's a level, as you know from your own personal experience, when you're not showering for a very long time, when you're unfortunately, I hate to be morbid, but when you're unfortunately putting people in body bags, it brings you to a sense of how precious life is, and then how important relationships are, and then bouncing back from those types of events matters,
Right.
and then you can bring all those attributes into the business space, man, for their clients. I mean, you're getting somebody that's dedicated, motivated, proven experience. Like I read a figure recently, 63% of employers don't want to employ kids coming out of college. Well, there's something to be said about our education system there, one. But two, like a lot of our veterans out there, not all of them, but the vast majority, they're proven, they got experience. In many cases, they have some form of leadership as a fire team leader, squad leader, and you can bring somebody on and they can be a valuable contribution to your team. So yeah, service matters in my opinion.
No, it does. We're very underutilized. I would definitely say that. So
where does Griffin go in the next 3 to 5 years?
that's a great question. We're in the midst of trying to grow. We've kind of outgrown. We have 45 dumpsters. We stick to the 10 yards. That's kind of Griffin Waste Services niche, and there's a niche for it. And we try to compete with we'll compete with the 20s, and sometimes people have to understand that doing things differently, sometimes it's better. I think a lot of people, as you know, the military, you can't get stuck in your way because it's ever changing. And I think people have never been in the service. They get stuck to what they know, and they won't look outside their box. But we're trying to get creative. If we're doing a big roof, put a dumpster on one side and put one on the other side, because then you can throw it off 2 different spots. Or if you're on a construction site, the same thing. But we can always work the numbers, and where we're going next 3 to 5 years, I mean, we already need 20 to 25 more cans. I mean, we're growing, and I think Danny ran the numbers with the franchise head, and we're growing about 30% every month that we've taken over from the previous owner.
That's huge.
It is, but we're not satisfied. I mean, we need to do about I would say 20,000 more a month to be where we want to be, but we're 6 months in the business, and I think that we're already outplaying some of the players, and it's because we stick true to our word. We do what we say, and we do it fast. We don't break the law, but we do it fast, and I think that comes with us working as a team and doing logistics and having good drivers, and the drivers treat this as their own company. So you don't have a company without great drivers. We're very personable. I ask them all to take time to go out and meet the customer, shake hands, and let them know that we're happy to serve them. And spending 5 minutes with somebody, it's okay, because it's a huge story, right? And I'm more about the people than I am the business, because if you care about people, the business will come. So
absolutely.
The next 3 to 5 years, I mean, we want to continue to grow, and we want to stick to our niche. And we want to continue to show people that we are the first-class service, and we're going to change the industry.
So how do people find you, and how do they find Griffin Waste Service of Jacksonville specifically?
Yeah, so I mean, we run Google Ads. So I mean, they can obviously find us on Google Ads. Our website, www.griffinwaste.com. I'm sorry, griffinwastejax.com. And it tells a little bit about Danny and myself, and tells about what we do and how we do it. And other than that, we're involved in the Northeast Florida Building Association. We're about to join BNI. We're involved in Ponte Vedra Connection. So we're doing a lot of networking and a lot of connection. And I think once people give us a shot, they don't leave because they see that we're personable, we care, and it's done right every time.
I know you and I have connected on LinkedIn also. That's another place they can find you.
Oh, yes, sir. True, very true.
I appreciate it. Thanks for your service.
No,
you
absolutely.
Didn't do that. We couldn't do this here today.
No, I appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming and tell your story. So what we're going to do is take all that contact information for the company and yourself. We'll put it in our show notes and encourage people to reach out to you, check out your services, and maybe for some future clients out there, they can hopefully tap into your resources and help you grow here as the city of Jacksonville is supposedly going to grow another 500,000 in the next decade, which is pretty exciting for the area. Not so much for the 95 I-10 corridor, but other than that, a lot of great people, awesome place to live. So
no,
thanks.
It is.
Awesome.
No, thank you for your service as well.
No, I appreciate that. Hey, folks, check out Dave and I on LinkedIn. Love to connect with you. Take a look what they're doing over at Griffin. Reach out to them. If you got a need, they'll have a conversation with you. We'll see you in our next segment. Little Grab.